An animal lover's guide to Disney World. This is Go Inform Podcast, episode 74. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me on episode 74. This one is for all the animal lovers out there in the audience. My name is Sue. I am the hostess on the show here and your vacation maven for all things theme parks. Very happy to have you joining me today on our talk about where to find animals at Disney World. Joining me today is a guest that should be familiar to some of you guys. My friend Joey, who is known as the Disney Hack, is our guest today on this episode. And this actually originally was one of our Facebook live chats, which we do pretty much every Tuesday morning on my Facebook page. So if you ever want to join us for a live chat, head over there on Tuesday at 11 Pacific time. So it may not be morning for you, but we would love to have you in the chat on our live shows and hear from you. And it's always fun to, interact a little bit on those live shows. So today I'm bringing you an excerpt from a live show that we did in the fall of 2021. And our topic was Disney World for animal lovers. And it struck me as something that would be great for the podcast. I know, you guys are looking for interesting angles, interesting things to do that maybe you haven't heard of before for your trip. And if you are traveling with someone who claims that they don't want to spend a bunch of time in the theme park, or maybe they just don't think they're a theme park person, approaching your trip from the angle of maybe something else that excites them can really help them have a better trip and be more excited about it. So if you have an animal lover in your group, you're going to want to know about the things that we're talking about here today. There are a ton of places to see animals, a ton of really unique encounters at Disney World, not just in the Animal Kingdom Park, but of course, we do spend some time talking about the experiences there. But we also talk about where else you can see animals and even which hotels are great for animal lovers. So I hope you enjoy our chat. If you want to watch us instead of just listening, if you head to the show notes, which are at goinform.net/74, I've got a link in there to our live video from this conversation. So if you want to watch video instead of listen, hop over to the show notes and you can see us talking too. Okay, well, let's turn it over to my past self and Joey talking about animals at Disney World. Okay, well, so shall we talk about the reason I called everyone here today?
Yes. I was wondering about that. Well, I was wondering why you called us all today to discuss this important subject for our daughters who are horse lovers and our sons who love rhinoceroses.
Yep. If you've got, and it's not just the kids. I happen to love animals too. So this is like a topic that's fun for me because I'm wondering if maybe there's something you know about that I don't even know about. And I know when I was kind of looking to see some of the things that I had an idea existed, but like finding out more about it, it's like, oh yeah, there's some cool stuff.
When you proposed this to me the other day, it was like, oh yeah, you can do that. Oh yeah, you can do that. Oh yeah, oh yeah, all these things. And I kept thinking of new things as in the last 2 days since we talked about this. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to talking about it. Can I tell you a quick story? Mm-hmm. I was visiting my brother-in-law, who we go to Disney with a lot. They now live about 4 hours from us, and we were visiting them a few weeks ago. And my niece, who's now 12, we were talking about when they used to live in the Austin area. When the kids were a certain age, we got annual passes to go to SeaWorld down in San Antonio, and we would go quite often. And it's been several years. And so we were asking her if she remembered anything about it. And she says, I remember the dog show, the dog and cat talent show I'm telling you, kids love animals. And that's what she does. And, SeaWorld's full of animals. You got the killer whales and the sea lions and all, there's a lot of animals.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuff. But the thing that she gravitated to was the dog and cat show that she loved so much. And so, kids love animals. And I think Disney is without a doubt, top tier in terms of their capacity to position very well trained and sometimes wild animals right there, right in front of you for you to be able to enjoy. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. And I think we should just jump around. I mean, there's one obvious place we could start, but really there is a lot of places in Disney World where you can see animals and have encounters with animals that you probably wouldn't have in your, hometown. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
What could that be?
So I think let's just start with Animal Kingdom because it's the obvious one. It's an entire theme park that's, themed around animals. A lot of people who haven't been there before think, oh, it must be like SeaWorld or something. Like it's like a kind of like a zoo. I mean, even SeaWorld's not really, but it has components that are like a zoo, but there's a lot more than that. And there are so many different kinds of animals that you can see at Animal Kingdom too, so it really makes it special.
Yeah.
So if you were bringing an animal lover to Animal Kingdom, what is the first thing you would probably do?
If I was bringing an animal lover, now, I know that you're an animal lover, and you probably know this about me, but you may not. I'm from San Diego. And for many, many years, I was a card-carrying annual pass hold member of the San Diego Zoo.
Right.
And although Animal Kingdom is not a zoo, it does have one of the things I have not, as an animal lover, been able to fully appreciate at Animal Kingdom, because in the past, when we've gone, we'll go over spring break. We went over New Year's, we went on New Year's Day in 2020, and it's busy. So you want to hit Avatar and, Everest and the Safari and Lion King. You want to do the shows, you want to do the rides, and that leaves very little time for the animal encounters. But if I had a day with an animal lover who wasn't necessarily thrilled about, simulator rides or roller coasters, we would have a blast going and taking our time, seeing the monkeys, right? Definitely doing the safari. I mean, that would be the first fast pass we would grab, right? We would just want to make sure that we didn't have to wait in that long line, especially if it was a hot day. We definitely want to go on the safari. I have a ton of pictures from the safari. So absolutely, I would say the first thing we'd do is we take our time getting there, but we'd head directly to the safari and take the, what is it, Kilimanjaro track or
yeah. I mean, I would love to go on an actual safari in Africa. That's totally bucket list thing for me, but this is as close as you're going to come without,
right.
Doing that. And it is different every time you go because the animals are seemingly free roaming, which is really cool how they accomplish that. And there's so much to see, and it feels like you're in Africa driving around, it's super fun. I mean, it's definitely for me, that's kind of worth going to Florida for. just to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, take away everything else at Animal Kingdom, it's worth it just for that safari. Mm-hmm. It's about 20 minutes long. It's not a quick thing. I remember sitting on the tram, which they don't have the tram at San Diego. They have two animal parks. Actually, they have the San Diego Zoo, and then they have what used to be called the San Diego Wild Animal Park. It's now called the San Diego Safari Park. Mm-hmm. probably because of things like this. And they used to have a train that ran on a monorail that you would go above the animals, the lions and the giraffes and stuff. And now it's just like a tram, like a parking lot tram that pulls you on a road above all this stuff. But it's not as cool as it used to be. But yeah, I mean, it's being able to get close to the animals, to see them, to take pictures of them, was the highlight of going to it was the studio tours equivalent of a big zoo, right? And
right, there you go.
On the tram and it takes you around through the thing. And so this is the same thing, but it has that Disney zhuzh to it, where you're in that Jeep that's bouncing and rocking, because you're driving on concrete. You're not driving through muddy pits and stuff, but they did it all on purpose to make sure that it was a complete immersive sensory experience. And the animals, the Jeep has to stop because the animals are walking in front of it. I just want to say before we move on from this, that before I forget, that if you ever ride the safari and you've never been on it, get a back row seat, because as the Jeep pulls out of the paddock, you can get a completely unobstructed view. You might think the front row is great, but the front row has the driver. It's got the hood. It's got all this stuff in front of you between you and the animals. You might be the first to see them, but you're going to get an obstructed view. If you're in the back row, as you're leaving the animals, whatever paddock because you pass from you don't notice it, but you're passing from zone to zone where the animals are actually kept apart from each other. You have a completely unobstructed view as you turn around with your phone and start snapping pictures of the giraffe or the rhinoceros or whatever happens to be right outside the Jeep, right behind you. It's pretty great.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I don't think I've ever sat in the back row.
It's a little bumpy back there.
It's a little bumpy everywhere. It is
true.
Yeah. The safari that's one of the things that makes fun. It's like the animals will walk across the road. There'll be like a giraffe, like right next to the vehicle you're in, or they'll have to wait for the zebras to move or whatever. And you can get some amazing pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you know that area wise, the safari is as big as the Magic Kingdom?
No. You
could fit the Magic Kingdom inside the African safari on the attraction that you drive around. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And when I was kind of looking around at this, it sounds like there's thousands of animals at Animal Kingdom. They have some behind the scenes stuff on Disney Plus that's pretty interesting, where they talk a little bit about how they care for the animals and the whole team that does that. And those are really interesting little, the one day at Disney kind of little shorts that they have.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. And you can actually, now I don't know what's available right now, since we're still, in 2021 while we're talking, but they have a lot of tours usually available at Animal Kingdom. Some are like kind of behind the scenes tours. Some are where you get like sort of a private, a small group, and you go out into the safari area, and then you get to like have lunch or breakfast or whatever out there. There's some interesting ways that you can get access to some of this stuff if you want to do like an extra kind of kick your trip up and get a tour.
Yeah.
So that's
cool. I love doing the backstage tours. This is one that is very high on my list to do. One of these days, I'll actually convince my wife and daughter that we have the money to do it. But because it's an extra, like, I don't know, $80, $100 per person just to do this couple hour tour. But I think they provide snacks. You actually get really close to the animals. You have a personal caretaker that's right there. You can ask questions of. And yeah, we're definitely a family of animal lovers. So I'm pretty sure if I'm going to get them, because unfortunately, I don't have a family of Disney history lovers. So when I did Keys to the Kingdom or whatever, walking in Walt's footsteps at Disneyland, I had to do that all by myself. But I think I can get them to come along with me on this one.
Yeah, I think this would be a cool special thing to do. If especially like a multi-generational group, some of these tours, some of them it's a lot of walking, but I think some are more, they kind of take you around in the Jeeps or whatever. And so the safari is like kind of the keystone, for the Animal Kingdom park. But there's actually a lot of other animal encounters around the park. There's several different like trails that you can walk on and see different kinds of animals. And the theming in some of them, it's just amazing. So there's I think it's the Maharajah Jungle Trek is what it's called. Back behind, it's kind of like by the water ride, the Cali River Rapids ride. And I swear we totally skipped this like the first 3 times that we were at Animal Kingdom, because it's kind of hidden away, and it's not like an attraction that you get on and ride. It's a walk, but it looks like you're walking through a jungle in like India, where there's all of these ruins in there. I mean, it feels like you've gone to like Sri Lanka or someplace. And they have tigers and bats. Like there's a whole thing with bats. They're in their own little house, so you don't have to have them flying over you.
That's good. Yeah.
There's that. And there's some birds too, I think.
They got like on that path. Screaming monkeys and
there's a monkey. Yeah, there's monkeys right by there.
I got a picture of the map here. Yeah, the Maharajah.
Yeah, if you want to pop that up, that's great. So there's a lot of cool stuff to see there, and it's a really actually relaxing place to go, because you can go there, any time of the day when you want to just, look at this forest. I mean, it's beautiful in there. Animal Kingdom, the landscaping in this park is just exquisite. And you can see it when you look at these.
Look at that. You can even use the tour, the virtual tour from Google. It takes you right into it. That is cool.
Very cool.
Look at the detail. Look at the things that people don't even see, because they just go, oh, well, that's just an animal. That's just a zoo, exhibit. But the detail in it is just fantastic. We love to go to zoos. We'll spend, summer. We like to go to the zoos super early, just because it's cooler. And sometimes you can see the animal handlers feeding the animals, and and you're beating the crowds, so we rope drop zoos and we see all kinds of great stuff. But this is cool. You could just get in here and take yourself a little virtual tour of all this stuff and see the things that most people are missing.
Yeah, it's like I've never been back there where there was more than a few other people around us. Like, you can really kind of get away from the busyness of the other parts of the park. And you can see like in the pictures of like even where the animals are, like where the tigers hang out, there's like ruins in there. Like they really are trying to give you this sense that you're discovering something that's only the tigers know about, kind of. And this is just such a Joe Rohde kind of moment, that he was the Imagineer that was in charge of Animal Kingdom. And I've heard him say, actually, I saw him somewhere, he had written that this was one of his favorite things in the entire park. It's this Maharajah Jungle Trek.
Yeah, that's so cool. And if you're, you're standing on your feet a lot when you're at a Disney theme park, but what a cool thing to see that, again, most people just walk by and they discount it. They don't give it the credit it's due, and take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like for photography, I mean, you could spend all day. I'm sure there's locals who just go to this park and just hang out there most of the day and take pictures of the animals, and then also all the beautiful scenery.
If I had the time, if I was a local, I would definitely look at these animals just get right up by you here. Yeah, it's really great. So that's just one of these little hidden gems. It's kind of a hidden gem in Animal Kingdom. And there's a bunch more. I mean, they've got that train operating again that goes out to the
kind of the conservation station or whatever it is they're calling it these days. You can see the veterinarians at work, which is cool because if you've got like a kid that loves animals and dreams of being a vet someday, you can take this train. It just takes you to another little part of Animal Kingdom. It's a cool old steam train. And out there, that's where they have the little monkeys, those little fluffy capuchins or whatever they are.
Capuchins, yeah.
Super cute little monkeys out there. And then inside the building, you can see them like preparing the food for the animals, and you can see the vets giving the animals like their checkup. And a lot of times there's like the vets will be talking to whoever's in the building so they can kind of explaining what they're doing. And it's for, like I said, especially for like a kid who's thinking they want to be a vet, like that, you do not miss that. That is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's right. I forgot. It goes like outside the park. Yeah. Rafiki's Planet Watch. I don't think it's open right now. I think it's actually
I'm not
closed
sure.
to the public.
I know it was closed for a while. I thought I had heard that the train was running again, but I don't know. This is one of those things that may still be yet to come back.
Yeah, you take the train and you get off at the station and walk through the jungle.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of a long walk. And then you get to this conservation station where they've got all kinds of stuff going on inside where they talk about animal conservation. But if you pan out from that, it's way out here on the north. I mean, here's that whole safari area where you drive around on the Kilimanjaro safaris. And then here's the conservation station way out here on the north end of the park. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I guess it kind of makes sense because they're bringing the animals in there. So that's probably that perimeter there may be part of where they keep the animals at night. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah. I know that there has been a lot of rumors about them turning this into a Zootopia area. You take the train and you end up in Zootopia land, but
that would be fun too.
Yeah.
But this is cool.
Have you checked out the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail?
Yeah, that's cool too. That's over by the kind of by the entrance to the safari, sort of.
Yeah, you can kind of walk around out here.
Yeah, it's a walking path, and there's obviously gorillas in there, but there's also an bird exhibit that's one of these aviary. Have you been in there? Or it's like got the net over the top and you just walk through and all the birds are flying around?
No, I haven't been at this one.
It's really cool because it's big. Like we have a few little aviary type spaces like that at our zoo here locally, but it really feels like you're outside. Like the net's really high and the space is really big, so you don't feel so constrained in. And the birds are flying all around. They're like building nests in there, and they'll be like walking on the path next to you. And it's all kinds of interesting tropical birds. And again, this is another one of those places where if you wouldn't think you're in a theme park, it's like you can sit on the bench and just watch the birds for an hour. So
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after you pass through there, you go into this other little building where they have hippos, which have a pond, and then it's like glass, so you can see into the water, and so you can see the hippos swimming in the pond, and that's always entertaining. Like, you can't beat that. And then you make your way down the path, and then at the end is where the gorillas are, and they have what looks like a really huge enclosure for them. And I think they have quite a few. They have a whole family of gorillas that live there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Look
at all these people looking at the gorillas. That's so cool. Yeah. I have to definitely check that out.
Yeah. It's one of those things you have to make time for, and you have to have the energy for it, because when you do these things, these are walking paths. So when you're looking at this Google Earth right now from above, you can see how far all this is. So, you have to kind of plan that you're going to be doing a lot of walking at Animal Kingdom if you're going to take advantage of all the stuff.
Yeah. We could talk we could talk this whole conversation and literally not leave Animal Kingdom, because we haven't talked about the hotel, which has animal viewing. We haven't talked about the fact that they have, dinosaur stuff, which is animal related. I mean, and even Pandora has, elements where the animals matter. There's the Tree of Life. Let's talk about that next, because there's a lot going on. There's even a trail around it. It doesn't have necessarily animals in it, but it has animal sculptures, so it's definitely someplace that's geared toward, recognizing the interest of animal lovers.
Yeah. And there actually are animals tucked away back in there. If you kind of go off the beaten path, there's some, like, there's flamingos. The flamingos are kind of up front, so most people see those, but they also have like some other types of birds back in there. And I'm trying to think what else, like maybe some little deer or that kind of thing. But there's actually a bunch of different little animal displays back around Discovery Island. And a lot of times they'll have a cast member there with an animal that you can see up close.
Yep.
So, often like a bird or something like that. But, and so if you kind of get off into those paths, you never know what you might find.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And have you ever seen the birds, like the parrots, take flight down here on Discovery Island?
I have not, but that reminds me, there's also used to be, I don't know, it's still there, a bird show at the park as well. Yeah,
it was back here somewhere. I don't think the bird show is going on right now. Yep, here up. A great bird show. But I don't think it's going on right now, but it might be. And if it, it might come back, and it might be something else, but it was a bird show before it was the Up bird show. But we came in one time, crossed the bridge, and went over here into Discovery Island, and they had parrots flying around in circles, zooming right over. Everybody was ducking because they were right over our heads. I might have some pictures of that somewhere. And we also met Kevin from Up, and he was walking around. I got some pictures of that. That was pretty remarkable.
Kevin is awesome.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's really fun. So, so yes, if you have an animal lover, you got to go to Animal Kingdom. But even if you're just kind of casually, interested in this kind of stuff, do not miss this park. Give it a full day. It really needs it. And if you have a really serious animal lover, then you also should really consider staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, because right outside your window is a savanna that's got zebras and giraffes and weird birds and wildebeests and stuff just roaming around. And it is super cool to just look out your window and see the animals out there. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if I'm going to all the way to Florida, like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, it would be worth it just to go and just stay in the lodge. Even if you never went to the park, there's still a lot of neat things to see and do related to the animals right there in the lodge.
Isn't that one of the first places that you stayed?
It is. It's the first place that we stayed when we went to Florida for that exact reason. I was like, we're going all the way to Florida. We're going to have a unique experience. We're staying in the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and we got, a room that had the Savannah view outside. And it was so cool that a couple of years later, we went back and I brought my mom with me because she's a huge animal lover. And we went back and stayed there because I was like, you have to see this. So, yeah.
Such a beautiful really cool place to stay. I mean, look at this. Just look how beautiful that architecture is. We're not even talking about architecture today, but it's just so incredible. Yeah, there's plenty of pictures online if you want to go entertain yourself that way. But from what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but they'll even have, like you go through, you don't even have to be staying there. If you just go through out to the back here, you'll see animals. Mm-hmm. And they even have cast members with like binoculars and stuff, or if you have questions, they'll be able to answer, any biological question about the animal. Things like that.
It's cool. Just like a lot of Disney World, they try to match the cast members with the theming of the place. And so at Animal Kingdom Lodge, a lot of the cast members traditionally, now with COVID, it's not quite this way, but are from Africa. So it's really cool because you're talking to someone from Africa. They're explaining, what you're seeing out there with the animals at night. If you're staying in the lodge, and maybe you're probably right, if you just happen to be there at night, they have a viewing area where kind of probably where this picture is taken that you're looking at right now. They have night vision goggles. So you can go out at night and look at the animals because they are out there day and night. It's just really, really cool. The sort of experience, it feels, it's meant to kind of give you the feeling of being in one of those fancy safari lodges, out somewhere out in Africa. And even, certainly it's steamy and hot enough if you're there most any time of year. So I'm sure the animals are right at home.
If you actually can't get to Africa, then just get to Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so where would you go next?
Oh my goodness,
see animals. If taking Animal Kingdom out now that we've talked about.
And we didn't even scratch the surface on Animal Kingdom, right?
I know.
All right. So the next obvious place for me would be Living with the Seas, or the Seas, I should say. Is the Seas Pavilion is a place I would think definitely. If look at, you got aquariums galore with all kinds of animals, attractions based on seeing animals, restaurants that, serve, I don't know if they serve the animals, but
I'm pretty sure you can get fish and chips in the Coral Reef restaurant.
I just don't know if they come from the, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The Seas at Epcot is definitely something you're going to want to go check out for, your animal lovers. Not only is it has a huge aquarium tank with, a lot of really cool tropical fish and things like sharks and rays and stuff, but they also have a tank with a couple of rescued manatees, which is really fun. Manatees are just fun to look at, and it's pretty neat. And they have an exhibit about sharks, which is based. So Nemo is the theme. They've kind of given it a Nemo theme there. So they have an exhibit about sharks, which features Bruce and the other sharks from Nemo, and so there's definitely educational components to the Seas. But it's also just fun to go and watch the fish swim by. They have dolphins, and they do a demonstration with the dolphins that is fascinating. Like, they've trained these dolphins to do all kinds of cool stuff. And so if you happen to be there when they're talking about the dolphins, that's especially cool. And as I've said before, you can actually scuba dive and snorkel in the aquarium tank there. So that's a special tour. Again, maybe not today, but, people watching or listening to us might be planning for a year from now or whatever. And I bet it will be back by then. You get kind of a behind the scenes tour of, how they operate the aquarium. And then you get to go to the top of the tank and get in and swim in the tank, and it is super cool.
That's amazing. I heard somewhere that at one point it was like one of the largest aquarium tanks in the country.
Yep, you probably heard it from me because I learned it on the tour. Yeah, it said that the one in Atlanta is a little bit bigger, but you can see, actually, that's really an interesting perspective that you have on the screen right now. That's something they said, was that you could put the entire spaceship Earth inside the aquarium tank in the seas.
Look at that. Wow. You sure can.
Yeah. That's
incredible.
Big.
I mean, this is a photograph, people. This isn't, that is amazing.
Yeah. So when you go inside, just like a lot of aquariums, you kind of don't appreciate, the size of the scale of the tank. But I really like that at that aquarium, you're down below you're like at the level of the fish swimming around. It almost feels like you're inside the tank, even when you're just walking. And then you can go I've never eaten in the restaurant there, but the Coral Reef restaurant, it looks out into the tank too. So it feels like you're underwater, which is really cool. Is there any other animal encounters you can think of in Epcot?
Nothing jumps out at me.
Yeah, I was trying
to think. The land is mostly about vegetation. You got animals at the sea. Nope. I mean, you can get oysters in Japan. I mean, pearls. They got to pull the oysters
That's
up
right.
for
They
that.
do have oysters with pearls.
So there's that. I can't think of any other animal encounters specifically.
Yeah, I can't either. I was just trying to think. I'm trying to think outside the box a little bit. And I think that really the seas is at Epcot, which is a huge attraction by itself.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's your animals. At Magic Kingdom, I know you just went to Hollywood Studios, and I can't think of any there. So
just animals from out of this world,
Right.
You got a loth cat at the marketplace there, but yeah, nothing substantial, nothing of a real animal that a real animal lover would love.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's things like Chewbacca. It's fuzzy and he's a creature.
You might be a little offended if you referred to him as an animal, but
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Magic Kingdom has the Main Street, the horses that pull the carriages and stuff on Main Street. And, this is something that I noticed more at Disneyland, that you see it more frequently, but they have you can see the trolley tracks there, and they have horses that pull them around and up and down Main Street.
See if I can find a picture.
Those horses, you can interact with them a little bit. And if you're a horse lover, that's pretty cool to be able to ride on an old-fashioned trolley pulled by horses.
It's very cool. In fact, my mother-in-law is a big horse fan. She used to have a horse business called Horses, of course.
Oh,
and
really?
She had horses in a stable that she cared for, and she bred, and she would, raise them and train them. And so, yeah, when she sees that horse-drawn carriage come down, you better believe she wants to get a ride. And I wish I'd remembered to go looking for it. It's probably in storage somewhere. But when we went to, it was at Disneyland, we rode the horse-drawn carriage. We sat up front with the driver, and the driver gave my daughter a sticker. I got a picture of it somewhere, I'm sure of it, that it said something to the effect of, volunteer helper horse trainer. I don't remember, but it was kind of cool that, the driver had this little thing, this little ad to our trip where she got to put this sticker on that said that she sat in the front and got to help with the, directing the horses down. Of course, they're on a track, so they're not going that far off. But anyway, yeah, it was pretty neat experience to do that.
Yeah, that's very cool. And, Magic Kingdom also, it's worth mentioning that there are a lot of other animal encounters at Magic Kingdom, but they are of the animatronic type over there in the Jungle Cruise, especially. And, the reason they're not real animals is because Walt wanted them to do, the thing that he needed them to do when the boat came by, and you can't get real elephants to actually, work on command like that.
Right.
So you get the sense of an animal encounter in the Jungle Cruise, but it's not actual animals.
Yeah, go check out I know you've seen it, but for anybody who hasn't watched the Behind the Attractions on Disney Plus, go watch that. And the very first episode is about the Jungle Cruise, and it's pretty interesting to think that they really wanted real animals initially, and that just how challenging it is to get a gorilla or a giraffe to be on cue all day long as these boats pass by. It's just impossible. But Walt's certainly going to try. But then in the end, he just decided to go with animatronics, which I think was a good call.
Yes, I think so too.
Maybe front side of water.
Is that why they're called animatronics? I mean, I know it's like animated, but it's also like animal. I don't know. Just wondering.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a good guess.
Yeah, so there's lots of actually some great animatronics in Magic Kingdom. I mean, not only the Jungle Cruise, but like I think of the animals in the Pirates ride. There's a donkey, and there's the dog that's got the keys, and the cats that the pirate is kind of harassing, and then you've got Splash Mountain with all the woodland creatures, and you've got Winnie the Pooh, and then for kind of that sort of just fun sort of whimsical animal experience, Magic Kingdom's going to cover that.
Yeah. So if you have a little one, 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, they love animals, and for some people, finding a hidden Mickey is one thing, but you could be like, let's find all the animals. Let's name if you've got a 4-year-old who's learning their animal noises, you go to the tiki room and they see the birds. You go to, Splash Mountain and there's, 50 animals in there. There's all kinds of stuff. Go to Winnie the Pooh and all the different animals. That could be a lot of fun for them.
That's a great idea for like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah. Dumbo's got elephants, The
Haunted Mansion has the dog with the graveyard caretaker. Maybe don't take your 5-year-old. Some 5-year-old.
There's also a pet cemetery. So
yes, there's a pet cemetery. There's the dog in the Carousel of Progress.
In every scene.
Yep. So there's actually a lot of references to animals in Magic Kingdom. And then of course you have to add Mickey and Minnie and, whatever Goofy is. I don't know.
He's a dog. I love that argument though. But yeah. And Donald and Daisy. Yeah. There's the whole Fab Five. They're animals, right? That don't wear pants, so.
Yeah. Cause they're just animals.
That's not weird at all. I think it's a Fort Wilderness. You could do carriage rides. So if you like horses, you could do that.
That was the other place I was going to say is, so at Fort Wilderness, they have, you can do pony rides, and wagon rides. And then they also have horse-drawn carriage rides there and at Port Orleans. So a lot of ways that you can kind of interact with these horses and ponies. And then you can also at Fort Wilderness, it's called the Tri-Circle D Ranch. It's like tri-circles, Mickey. So Tri-Circle D Ranch is the place where they keep the horses that work on Main Street and pull the horse-drawn carriages and do the pony rides and all that. So you can go there and get up close to the horses and see the trainers. And I'm sure there's a lot of information about how they care for the animals, and you can learn a lot. And that's all free. Like you don't need a park ticket to go exploring that. That's just at the resort at Fort Wilderness.
That's so great. Yeah. And if you're staying at one of the monorail resorts or at Wilderness Lodge, you can take a boat over there. And so you don't have to take the buses, or you could take buses, or you can drive over there if you're driving around.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's another place I would recommend you might want to stay especially if you're horse lovers. I mean, if you stayed there, you could spend a whole day just exploring all of that, and you'd be just staying right in that cool kind of bubble of being out on the, out on the range. So that's another good one for people who are fans of animals. And plus you've got the wildlife, which we haven't talked at all about, but there's a lot of wildlife. And I would think you would, especially if you stayed at Fort Wilderness there, you would probably encounter, and there are alligators at Disney World. They try to keep them away from the guests, but it's possible that you can see one. So,
well, if you're in Central Florida, if you got an animal lover and you want to get away from the parks, there's the Everglades. There's lots of places you can go and see wildlife. We went to Kennedy, Cape Canaveral, and saw alligators, saw bald eagles, saw all kinds of really amazing natural Floridian wildlife. Disney does a good job of trying to keep those at bay because they don't want them to damage the place. But you can see all kinds of really interesting wildlife if you're into that thing. That sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. So there's just a ton of stuff. If you've got somebody or you love animals, seriously think about Disney World as a destination, because it's more than just like going to the zoo for the day. You can really dive in and see a lot of cool stuff and experience a lot of cool stuff up close, and have some pretty amazing experiences right there on their property. Was there anything else you that we didn't cover that you had thought of?
Nothing I can think of. Yeah. I mean, we can go back to Animal Kingdom. There's the shows, right? We didn't talk about the Lion King show, right? And I think they're doing away with the Nemo show, or they're going to redesign it. But so there's that. So yeah, there's lots to see and do there with regards to animals. It's really, and I think there's an animal lover in every single one of us. So it's easy to find things you can love about Disney World with regards to seeing animals there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And also, anybody watching this, if you have made it all the way to the end, you get to do something special.
A survey for you.
Yeah. So we want to do some more episodes that are like Disney World for enthusiasts of things that aren't necessarily Disney. So animals is an example of it. So if you want to challenge us to think of things to do at Disney World for someone who has an interest that's not necessarily Disney, put a note in the comments or message us or whatever and tell us what topic. Like if you're traveling with someone who's just like, what am I going to do there? But you know that they love cars or sports or some, hopefully not like mid-century poetry or whatever that.
Hey, so try and stump us. See if we can't find it.
Yeah. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know, and we will see if we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I bet we could find most of them.
Yeah, I think we could. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Joey, for another fun Tuesday. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that chat from me and Joey. We always have fun talking about Disney together, as you can probably tell. If you want to see pictures of the things that we talked about, and if you want to watch the video, because you might have noticed that we were looking at Google Earth and some other stuff while we were talking, you can see all of that over on the show notes at goinform.net/74. If you want to see more of Joey or hear more of Joey, best place to look for him is at his website, which is thedisneyhack.com. And of course, I'll have a link to that in the show notes too. And actually, the place to really see Joey is on Tuesday mornings with me on my Facebook page, GoInformNet. We are on most Tuesdays live at 11 a.m. Pacific. I mentioned in that chat that we were looking for suggestions about other topics that would work like this, and I would love to hear from you guys. So if you have a thing, if you are traveling with someone and they're like a car nut or, really loves space or whatever it is, give me that challenge. We would love to have that challenge of trying to find things that are themed around that at Disney World. You can comment in the show notes on the website, or you can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Either place, my name over there is GoInformNet, and let us know if you do have something you want to challenge us with. If you want to learn more about Animal Kingdom Park, there is a lot more to it than just what we talked about, which even just that is awesome. But if you really want to hear about the entire theme park, go all the way back in the archives of this podcast, all the way back to episode 16. That is my virtual audio tour of the Animal Kingdom theme park. I talk about the safari and that kind of stuff, but I also talk about Pandora, the world of Avatar, Expedition Everest, the dinosaur land at Animal Kingdom, and also share some tips for touring in that park. So that's episode 16. Another great thing to listen to if you are getting your animal lover ready for a trip to Disney World. Thanks again for joining me and Joey today on the show. I really appreciate your listening and subscribing to the show and commenting and all that great stuff. And I can't wait to tell you about the next fun theme park topic that we'll have in a couple weeks. Thanks again. I will talk to you soon.